Test, 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 test.
Okay, I think. Are we live?
Says we're live.
Yeah, looks like we're live. Yeah, just go ahead and send it. Ask the chat if
Chat, can you guys hear me?
yeah.
5x5. Yep, we're good. All right, let's get this up. Let's get this ball rolling. What's up, guys? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm going to lay this out for you guys. Let's go ahead and get to YouTube. Look, nobody's showing this video except on X that I've seen. Primarily, I'm not going to be able to show you guys the video because I'll get instantly banned, but I'll go on to the links here. And Julian, my sub window, my lower window is good, right? Julian, you're muted.
Yeah, it should be good.
Okay. I'm not going to be able to show you guys the video, but I'm going to go over some of the things that are going on in real time right now. And yeah, just like you guys, I saw the video. There's two significant videos. One video where, and I'll cut this down because I know it's going to be there. It's muted. All right, so there's two videos going on right now. One of the videos is a video of a further away perspective where Charlie Kirk, who's at the University of Utah, sitting in a chair. There's one report of one round from a rifle. That rifle is very distinct. That rifle was either 5.56 or 308. I mean, if he was muffled by being suppressed, it was 308. It's hard to tell. I can't personally tell from it, but it for sure is a rifle. When he's sitting in the chair, he just finishes the word. I think the last word he said was violence. And he was just talking about mass shootings, and he takes a round. Now, what you see is his shirt rise. That's the energy that's likely incoming that hits him straight in the neck. And that's very significant because, look, there's only a couple of ways that you're going to survive a rifle round. In the extremities and a grazing wound, like Trump in Pennsylvania. A round in the arm or leg. You take a round through your pressurized chest cavity, not a good outcome. In fact, it's harder to stop an internal bleed. Don't think about the puncturing of the chest. Think about the actual depressurization of the chest and the bleeding in the chest, which is nearly impossible to stop. In fact, you don't stop it. You use a chest tube to push inside the person's chest to suck the blood out, and then you have to have a high level of care. Now, allegedly, and I'm tracking this stuff in real time, guys, with points of contact via our new Substack, which is Dead Drop Intel, which I will give you guys the link to that. Right now, it is alleged that he is in critical condition. Now, I'm looking for any single piece of information that I can get that tells me otherwise. If you guys hear anything other than that, let me know. I think we got one say that Ski is saying he's stable. Now, for sure, the carotid artery was hit on impact. You could see that if you haven't seen the video. He gets hit, his head goes immediately back. That's the energy of the round, the velocity of the round, all that energy going into his body. He immediately kicks his head back and starts gushing blood out of the side of his neck. I was able to, yeah, it is horrible footage. I was able to watch the video, but also saw post the scene, there was blood. Now, significantly, you see two of his personal protection detail, his PSD, one that was in the crowd and one that's offset to his right, run towards him. These dudes, I actually know a couple of the guys. In fact, one of the guys that we work with on this Substack on Dead Drop Intel, it was on his PSD. He told me just now that a lot of his PSD was young and inexperienced. If one of those guys was able to get to him and as soon as they put their hands on him was able to stop the bleed, he could possibly survive. Now, I know a lot of people are seeing that video and they say, there's no way he survived that. If you watch it, it's a horrible video to watch because immediately there's blood pouring out of his carotid artery. Now, that feeds, obviously, blood to the head, blood to the body. You would have to get your hand on there, apply pressure, and stop it out the gate. Now, did he get there in time? I don't know. Look, I'm just going to make the opinion that's probably not as popular. That does not look survivable to me. Based on what I know about engaging bad guys, ballistics, and what I saw. The reason I'll say that is because, one, he hit the most autobahn artery for blood in the body. It's a highway for blood. It feeds the brain and the body. When that connection is severed, the arterial bleed that you're used to seeing is typically a sever. And it typically looks like a pulse. So it's with his heart rate, it's pulsing out, right? What you saw was a complete severing of the freeway, which is why it was gushing out. The reason I think that's not survivable is because even if they were able to apply pressure, once it's completely severed, you would need surgery to repair that. Blood would be flowing out of the head and then from the body, which is why you see that pouring out. And there would likely not be enough time, even if they moved him from his position onto an operating table. Obviously, they have to stop the bleed and move him to an ambulance that's going to move him to an operating table, which I can tell you right now at University of Utah, that's going to take 20, 30, even longer. Best case scenario, minimum 30 minutes for him to even get into the hospital, to get into a surgery situation, and that's as everything was prepped. So the reason I don't think there's a high probability is it's just too much time. Now, if he grabbed his neck and he was conscious, it's potentially something different. Also, you notice he went limp. When you go limp like that, it's telling me a few things. His central nervous system was potentially compromised. Now, it could be the energy from the round, and that's a lot of velocity in the neck. But if he took that round in the neck where it appears to be, it potentially severed his spine. Now, again, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news here, but the reason I'm just saying this as somebody who does reacts videos, who's been educating some of you guys for years, is I'm just basing it off of my perception, my opinion, from my experiences. Now, what's the more significant issue here? I pray for Charlie Kirk and his family. He's out there trying to spread truth, in my opinion. I like Charlie Kirk. The fact that he has focused his attention on influencing and educating the youth that have been completely galvanized by lunatics in our colleges that are perpetuating this radical ideology that is not going to benefit any of these young men and women into adulthood, into living in the real world. This is going to galvanize his base, his supporters, and likely the country. And that's not going to be good. MSNBC just reported this, that they speculated it could have came from a rogue supporter shooting his firearm in celebration. I mean, can you just take that in for a second? Just let that sink in. Can you fathom that? That a radical left-wing organization that's a propaganda arm for lunatics is coming out saying verbatim that they think it's probably likely from this. I could name a dozen situations in the past year, starting with Butler, Pennsylvania, all the way to now, where there has been a manifestation of radical ideologues implementing their ideology into executing, assassinating, and murdering other people. And that's the state of affairs that we're living at in this country. One guy said, no way did he have a long gun on the yard. Look, you could have who said that? Josh. You could have a truck gun this big. You could have a truck gun this big. What I do know is it came from an elevated position. The suspect, who has been identified, and the video has been released on X. In fact, I'll get you guys this rolled up. It's going to be. He appears to be like an old dude. He's like 60 plus years, 70. Yeah, they say the suspect's in custody. Let me see if anybody else is showing this guy. It's interesting. Like, I want to do the real news. I want to show you guys, but I'd be banned if I did that, if I actually showed you the video that I wanted to show you. All right, let's just take a gander. He's wearing military-style boots, jeans, and a shirt. Is that a hood, guys? Does that appear to be a hood? I can't tell what that is. So Josh is – oh, that appears to be his hat. You could have a AR-10 platform. I mean, AR-15 platform, AR-10 platform. The upper and lower receiver with a mil-spec style tube is about this big. It could be in a form factor of 6 inches at a minimum, and for sure at that distance, he could absolutely have engaged him with a rifle. It for sure was not a pistol. If it was a pistol, it came out of a subgun, but the sound of that, which let's get the report up on this. The report, which is the sound that you hear from the rifle. Here it is right here. We'll go ahead and roll this and see if I can get. Let's see if we can get the. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so look, I'm gonna roll this tape, guys. I'm just warning you guys because some people who follow me are real young. Warning: graphic content. It's coming from New York Post. But let's go ahead and play this video and then pause it and see if we could see anything coming from this. Okay, I'm going to pause it right here. Now, where this guy is shooting his camera from, which I'll back it up right here, you can see him zoom into Charlie Kirk. So this is his perspective. That shot came from behind him. The reason I'm speculating it's a rifle is, one, it sounded like a rifle. Two, the amount of energy that hit Charlie Kirk is a rifle. And three, the ability for you to engage somebody at this distance would require a red dot variable magnified optic or a red dot at a minimum. And so this, I can't tell exactly because the perspective is skewed by the focus of the camera, could be 50 yards, 50 to 100 yards. Let's go ahead and continue to roll it. Okay, so this is his main PSD guy. You see this guy all the time. And I've actually worked with this guy, I believe, in a former career field. He's got one here, and he's got this guy right here, and he's got this guy right here. I don't know if they're going to show this, but I saw this guy run to Charlie, and I saw this guy run to Charlie. Now, guys, this isn't the President of the United States. These are private security experts that are running to protect and save Charlie Kirk, a private citizen. That's pretty impressive. Charlie must take care of them, and they must believe in the mission, but they also have a job. Let's go ahead and roll it. Warning you, this is probably going to be graphic because I don't think they're going to blur this out. Okay, they did blur it out. So you hear that one shot. That shot is either from a suppressed 5.56 gun or a 308. It's a rifle round for sure. He gets hit in the neck, his head slumps, and he immediately falls to the ground. So look, everybody is looking this way. So guys have said, I saw you guys say it, there's no way he got that rifle in. It's a backpack gun. That's easily capable of being broken down from the upper and lower receiver and would fit in a day bag this big. How good do you think security is on this campus? It's not. I mean, Charlie Kirk isn't the President of the United States. He doesn't have an advanced team that's looking at all the elevated positions. And you can see there's elevated positions here. This guy could have easily just walked over here from the tree line, set up his rifle, and broke a shot on Charlie Kirk. You can see right here, there's tons of students in elevated positions, and they're not going to have checkpoints. They're not going to have snipers on rooftops. What they're going to have is local protection as a security detail to protect him from mostly people spitting on him, yelling at him, or charging him, but nobody would think that a person with a rifle would get this done. I'll continue to roll it. That's distinctly a rifle round. All right, here's the suspect being rolled up. Oh, he's not in jeans. Psych. This dude's in shorts, a shirt. Appears to be 70 years old. Look, here's a great example. I don't know where his booth was, but look all of this elevated positions around here. Look at these people trying to record. I don't know if she's trying to record something. Yeah, plenty of elevated positions to be able to take that shot. All right, so let me just cover this quickly because I hate talking about problems and no solutions. This is a perfect example of what not to do. Your children, your brothers, your sisters, your family, your friends that don't understand this, educate them. If they're ever in a circumstance where this type of thing happens, where it is unknown if he was a sole independent shooter, attacker, or if there was multiple shooters or attackers, this could have been a full-scale attack. Now, the first thing we want to do is observe, prepare by taking in the situational awareness around us, process that information while you're moving your physical ass off the X. There is no benefit to staying anywhere near this. Don't make it to your car. You don't need to go to your car because you'll get gridlocked. You don't need to run into a building and hide under a desk. You need to displace like you're about to go on a 5-mile jog, put your earbuds in, and continue to move. You could advise your family and friends, everybody, of what's going on while you're moving your physical body. All these guys right here, they're trying to observe. They got their cell phones out. They're trying to see what's going on. And if there was a complex attack as part of this initiation, they'd be dead. I'm going to continue to roll it and let it finish, and then we'll get off into any breaking news. Yeah. A lot of people report it is as fireworks. It's not fireworks. It's shots for show. All right, let's see if we got anything else. Let me go back to you guys here and see if I can get you guys questions. Joseph says he is passed. Has that been has that been populated? Can anybody provide me the link if that's actually being released? I'm going to go ahead and check my updates. OODA loop. OODA loop is a great way to identify what to process. I use OPS, observe, prepare, survive. It's a little bit easier to wrap your head around, but you do need an explanation, just like you do with OODA loop. Let me see. I got an update. Yeah, it's just more of the videos. Let's see if anybody else from Dead Drop has reported anything. Okay, Tim Poole is saying he's in stable condition. I just can't fathom that anybody is saying that he's stable. That would be hard for me to believe, but I mean, miracles happen. I mean, if somebody applied direct pressure to stop the immediate bleed, and as soon as they contacted him, if that person was able to apply direct pressure, there is a chance of surviving that. But everything would have to go perfectly. I hope he did survive. I pray that he did. Some are reporting critical but stable. Stable condition just means that, You know, he's got blood pressure. He's going into surgery. Turning Point says he's in the hospital, but it doesn't look good. For sure, a jugular hit. All right, let's go back to the news, guys. I'm going to see if there's any more live. Critical condition from the AP. Okay, yeah, that's exactly what the news is saying. See, that irks the crap out of me, man. That video should be played on a lot, just like this Ukrainian gal was killed in Charlotte, North Carolina by this attacker. This egregious, insane attack where this dude stands up with his pocket knife nonchalantly with all the no cares in the world. It looks like he's about to go on a hike. He just stands up, he takes the knife, and he just starts thrusting it into her neck. That should be live streamed all across the country on every news organization so you could see the reality and the truth of what's going on in our country. Nobody wants to pay attention. In the inner city of Chicago, as the mayor is saying, nothing to see here, 11 people last week were murdered. 11 people in one city murdered. In fact, it's funny because Brandon, the old mayor, moved himself and his family to Austin, which has more violent killings in it than any city really, or any neighborhood really in America. But nobody wants to report on that. So they're saying it's so violent, it's so grotesque, it's so traumatic to watch. That's what we need to do. We need to see this because this is what's happening in our own backyard, literally my own backyard. What I was going to pull up is UVU. Yeah, here's the UVU campus in Orem. And this is my house right here. It is about a 35-minute drive from here in Heber City down to here. And look, for all those who say nothing is happening in Utah because all the crime is happening in the inner city, or these things happen all the time in Utah. A BLM protest happened in Provo, and a 70-something-year-old man was shot in his chest with a .380 from a white protester during a BLM protest while this old man was just trying to get to work. He stopped, and he didn't know what was going on. He got scared. He tried to drive away, get shot in the chest. That's Provo. And this is Orem at the UVU campus right here. Now, I'm trying to I try to look at the imagery. It's kind of hard to see exactly how this lines out. I'll move it to, let's see if we can move it to, let me see if I can get the live update, guys. Yeah. What's up? Okay, okay. Oh, they can't hear it? Okay. Sorry you guys can't hear this. We have a new system that we're setting up. And this is the first time that we're going live on this subject matter. So bear with me. I'm going to go, since you guys can't hear it, I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to give you a snapshot of what he said. So what he basically outlined is that he was 20 yards from Kirk when this happened, and he saw him get hit in the neck and slump. I just got a second angle. I'm going to try to see if I can get that second angle up online as well. The angle is offset to, like, if you're looking at Charlie and he's looking at you, it's like you walked around to your right, and you're staring at the left side of his head. You see him get hit and turn and slump, and it shows the timing of how long it takes for his PSD to get to him. I mean, they moved to him immediately, but he gets hit, he slumps, and he sits there for a period of time before he falls over. Now, the reason I think it's unlikely that he's going to survive is based on that first hit. If he was not hit in anything vital, he would have still been conscious, and you would have seen some kind of reflex response of his arm going up, grabbing his neck. There's none of that. He gets hit, and as soon as he gets hit, he goes limp, which to me means he was hit in a vital part of his body, and a piece of round shrapnel or the bullet in mass compromised his central nervous system. Now, let me line this out for you guys as professionally as I can. It's just like hunting. There's two means of getting the desired end state in hunting. When you hunt big game, I hunt big game like elk. When you shoot elk, when you hit them from the side, you penetrate their chest cavity and their pump house. And when you do that with an arrow or with a round, there is a period of time in which they are going to get a spike of adrenaline, run, fight, or flight, and then they're going to be down immediately, depending on the placement of that round. But if you miss that pump house and you hit the spinal cord or the head, what you see is a neurological impact, and everything shuts down instantaneously. I won't give you the analogy out of respect for Kirk on this with people, but I want you to understand something. When somebody gets hit like that and they slump like that, it's likely their central nervous system was compromised. Now, there is a chance that the velocity and the impact knocked him unconscious because of where it landed, but I find that highly unlikely because it looked like he got hit. There was a potential central nervous system compromise, and he slumped. A normal reaction is a flinch response like Tony Blauer teaches, which is I'm going to flinch, and my arm's going to jerk up. I'm going to bring my hand to my neck. He didn't do any of that. And that is a sure sign of central nervous system compromise. And again, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news. I'm just giving you my perspective on this as it's lined out. Let me get some of you guys' input. So some of you guys are rolling around the interwebs. Yeah, the latest reporting, and I'm sorry, I thought you guys were hearing that live feed. The latest reporting right now from the AP, the Associated Press, is that he's in critical condition. Critical condition is not good. And I will tell you this, I told my chat group, actually the Family Unity Act chat group, that if they put it out and it was going to be released, it would take a while because they would have to notify next of kin, and that a doctor would have to come in and pronounce him deceased, and then that starts notification processes. Now, information close hold to him would be potentially leaked, and that hasn't happened. We haven't seen that, but again, there is a chance that this could happen, and it could take a while for it to be released. Again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Let's talk about the potential fallout because there's going to be a lot, guys. Oh, okay. I'm doing a live today with Survival Dispatch. I'm actually going to get the link for the live so I can plug it into the description or to the chat for this. Let me hit up Chris. Send me link to live. I'll distro on live feed. Okay, I've been doing live feeds with a organization called Survival Dispatch with Chris Heaven. Khalid Muhammad, Sarah Adams, Jane Doe, a whole bunch of these intel experts have been on the panel. We're doing dead drop intel, but we've been talking about the potential fallout and what would happen with a domestic terrorist attack. Now, when we say domestic terrorist attack, there's several courses of action and several different players. Let me give you 3 significant players. Domestic terrorist, radical human beings who've decided on their own accord to hurt other Americans because they've been radicalized. That is in combination with crazy people who have lost their mind who are doing this every weekend in the inner cities. But most significantly, a radical ideology that's political, personal, and trying to create mass casualties potentially. The second, and this is in no order of hierarchy or priority, the second is a jihadist. A person, remember the jihadist movement never went away. While we were sitting idle and abandoning billions of dollars of equipment in Afghanistan, the enemy, you ever heard of that poem, The True Believer? That's what the enemy's been doing, is training while we've been screwing around with politics. While we get more radicalized and upset at a Karen taking a baseball from a kid than we do on pressing issues that are impacting national security and potentially your lives. The jihadist movement didn't go away. And the intel experts, not me, because I am not an intel expert. The intel experts have all determined, based on the assets they have in place and the open source information they're getting, that this dynamic has changed profoundly. That for sure there is going to be another 9/11 in the near future. And I'm in agreement with them based on their expertise and their assessments. Lastly, I mean, there's never a last, the cartels. Guys, there was 600 Sinaloa cartel members arrested and the biggest DEA drug bust in decades. Why is that impactful? Because the Sinaloa just fell because 17 family members basically turncoated and are now being offered likely witness protection, while other cartels like the Zetas are taking over. There's many of these organizations that are taking over. 600 of them were arrested because the headquarters dissented and said, here's where everybody's at. That is just a taste, a small sampling of the embedding of terrorist, radicals, and cartel members that are now foreign terrorist organizations that are embedded in our country. You think Tren de Aragua yesterday was just a bunch of drug dealers. Today, we're nearly at war. We're likely in a proxy war or a covert war against Venezuela. You think those Tren de Araguas, those TDA members in the country aren't planning to take advantage of the opportunity to seize the moment? The analogy I used on my Patreon, and just stick with me here, is this is like a bully confronting, a person who's been bullied confronting the bullies on the playground for the first time in their life. The analogy is, for once, we have somebody who's willing to stand up for the right, but there's going to be consequences. You think you're going to get through this without an ass beating, without a conflict, without a fight? It's happening right now. And not only are we confronting one bully, but because of the lack of competence, the lack of doing the right thing with all of the things, the pullout of Afghanistan, the corruption, the deep state getting deeper and deeper and deeper, What we've done is we've littered the playground with nothing but bullies. So at the same time, I'm like, yes, finally somebody's standing up for the right. I'm also understanding that there's going to be consequences to these actions. And what we've managed to do is isolate and empower adversaries. Putin, Kim Jong-un, and President Xi, walked out on the stage together in the biggest parade they've ever held in their history, celebrating the 80-year anniversary of the fall of the Japanese Empire. Except we are the ones, Americans are the ones that made sure that the Japanese would never hurt anybody ever again, and we bombed them into submission. Were we part of that? The answer is no. So what happens when you have all of these things? I talked about it on my last podcast, on the Mike Force podcast. We have a circumstance where we have a perfect recipe of vulnerability where people are going to take advantage. So now we have domestic issues. We have every foreign adversary igniting fires in every inner city. We have radical mayors saying, there's nothing to see here. The crime is actually down, where there's people literally being burned down in the streets in their own neighborhoods. That 11 people murdered in the inner city of Chicago, that 11 people that were murdered, that was up 8% from last year. So nearly 10% from last year, and you're out there bragging how we can't stand for the National Guard to come in here while you spent $300 million in 1 year on illegals, creating a deficit of $1.1 billion in debt based on your radical policies. And you guys see this, but they're continuing to vote for the same thing. Mayor Wu in Boston just won her primary. So I don't know if it's a big scam or if they're just going to self-serve the ice cream cone that they keep licking until there's nothing left. Look, I know what I'm going to do about it. I'm going to continue to educate and do what we do here, but my ass is moving the hell away from everybody. I'm trying to get as far away from all of this craziness as I can, and I think a lot of people feel that. And look, I'm not saying that's the solution because I know a lot of you go to school, you have a 9 to 5, but this is the shit that's going on in our own backyard that is insane. And again, the left, MSNBC, CNN will play it down like they did it to themselves. Really? That dude looks like he could be a professor at UVU. And shooting Charlie Kirk in the face is the best solution? Well, here's the truth. The radical left will not come out and condemn these attacks because they know exactly what they're doing. They're promoting it by inciting this kind of violence. Julian, do we got audio back? Can you guys hear the TV now?
So, yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I stick around for just a minute, if you don't mind. Your name and just what you saw, where you were at, what you heard.
My name's Kaya Meek, and then we were just about 50 feet from the left of him. And then I just remember he was on his second conversation, and then that's when the shot came, and then we just saw his head jerk back and shoulder.
He's alive. Mega butter.
And we immediately just turned and dropped to the ground, and then saw people start getting up and running. So we followed in with that, and were able to get to the apartment buildings and get in with a really kind girl that started driving us. And then,
how scary was this? What was the mood there?
It was just really terrifying. I mean, I was kind of in shock, because I was like, no way that just happened, But I'm definitely very grateful that there was only one shot and stuff, or else I think that a lot more people could have been injured.
Okay, thank you very much. And where were you at, and what did you hear there in the scene?
Yeah, I was with Kaya, and we were just 50 to 100 feet to the left, and just heard a shot, and then just saw his head fly back, and he just slumped in his chair and saw blood coming down his shirt, and then this people just yelling "get down," and then just see a flood of people going throughout these doors, so just ran and followed them.
Wow. We hear about school shootings or university shootings, those kind of things. To actually be in there when it's happening. Your thoughts about that?
We'll let that roll
I mean,
bit.
you just never expect it to happen. You're just going to this event. You're not expecting anything to happen. So it's definitely shocking when something happens like that.
Tell me about why Charlie Kirk. What was it about? You wanted to go hear him, or what happened there?
He's on social media. I've seen a lot of him do a lot of debates. We just thought it'd be cool to come see him debate a couple people.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And share with us where you were at and kind of what you saw.
Yeah, I was about 50 feet to it.
He's talking about, and he comes from a state of logic, and I respect that a lot. And so I've watched his videos for a while, for years now, honestly. So I think, yeah, he's a really interesting person. I was pretty excited to hear that he was coming to Utah so that he.
Okay, this is guys. I didn't see this perspective yet, but I'm going to roll this back. We got about 10 minutes left on the live. I want to roll it back a little bit and just give you some perspective. I have not seen this video. This is a video basically of some dude hanging out by the tent. You could see the blurred out section, which I assume is Charlie Kirk, where he's at, where he's being treated by his personal protection detail. But let's go ahead and roll it.
Questions other students at UVU had to ask, and what his response would be to them.
Well, I have not seen this perspective. I don't know if it's about to go down right here, but this is the bodyguard that you typically see with him. Actually, no, this is the other guy that's sitting in front. The other guy's offset to the back and right. But this guy's asking a question, so we'll have one of his bodyguards staring at the guy who's on the mic asking the question. This is typically filmed for his YouTube channel, and then he'll answer the questions, and then they'll move on.
Really it.
Austin, you followed him a little bit more. Tell me just your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I really respect Charlie as a person. He's a great person. He's a family guy, a good Christian. Like, he has strong beliefs. They chatted a lot about religion right before it happened. I mean, there was only one question before.
So this is interesting. This is a perspective of the crowd migrating through this person who's videotaping, and then offset to the left, they're going to show the blur mark. So he's on the ground being treated. You're likely going to have these PSD guys. They have a contingency and a course of action already pre-planned on how to evacuate him in a case of emergency, which Charlie has been evacuated. I've talked to some of his PSD before, guys that were in the area when things have happened, where he's had to been taken off the stage and evacuated the back, but not under these circumstances. I imagine at this point you have one or two guys treating him, and then other guys getting vehicles ready to move him and likely straight to the hospital.
He got before the shooting, but I really think he's a great person, and he sticks up for what he believes in, and I respect that, and I enjoy watching him.
So he's right here, man. He's right here. It's kind of crazy because so nonchalantly this guy's videoing, and there's nobody around this. Everybody's just running.
What Utah's about, and have his support group here, because I know a lot of people really respect him here. So it's pretty sad that it had to happen here.
Well, I was going to say, just the fact that there was a shooting, he was shot at an event like this. Your thoughts about that?
Honestly, it's kind of shocking just seeing how many hundreds and hundreds of people were there in support of him. And, you know, I think it's really sad. I think people are trying to prove a point. It didn't change my thoughts on the right to bear arms at all. And so it's...
Let me just go over this real quick because I think it's important, guys. The acronym for EMTs or medics, especially in the military, changed years ago, over a decade ago, from airway breathing circulation, where typically the focus would have been on the airway. It's now moved to massive hemorrhaging as number one. So stop the bleed is number one. Why? Well, your body is very good at figuring out ways through suppressed respiration, even with an occluded airway, to survive. But if you don't address the bleed, by the time you get through respiration, it's probably going to be too late. So the first thing you do is apply pressure, apply tourniquets, stop the bleed, and then focus on everything else. And these guys, which they don't show, which again is dude, we need to be showing this stuff. They're likely treating him, trying to stop the bleed as quickly as they can. Now, the only thing I would say is based on the position of the tent, the stakes, he's in a pop-up tent. He's in a situation where he's squared up with the shooter. The round hits him, and you have these arteries that run, these carotid arteries that run down your neck, right? They're out of the way on the outside of your airway. If that was hit, that carotid artery was hit, which it appears to be hit, it's not potentially near the spine or the airway, which is center mass of your neck. Now, of course, if it's a 5.56 round, it's 5.56 or 45 in diameter. If it's a 308 round, it's 0.308 in diameter. And that's a very small projectile. So if it just punched a clean hole in that area and then started that bleed, as long as it didn't hit anything else vital, then there's a chance of surviving that. Now, my fear is that rounds, when they impact flesh and bone, do funny things, especially 5.56 rounds. They're very particular. That .223 round, very small, a lot of high power and velocity, 2,700 plus feet per second, or 2,550 plus feet per second. That round could have hit him, compromised the carotid, and then potentially tumbled into whatever, which is when I saw him slump like that, gave me the indication that it could be the central nervous system.
I mean, it seems like it was kind of for nothing, and I think people just want recognition, and they want to think they're
showed the side camera of it, so
that basically would keep him from coming, and these are based at Utah State University, where he was scheduled to come later this month. The petition had 3,500 signatures. Students, hundreds reportedly today, are joining on that petition to ask board trustees at the university to prevent this Charlie Kirk from coming to their campus, and it's part of a national debate.
See, this is what pisses me off. I don't care about your petition. If you could have a radical leftist teach in the classroom to kids, then on a public campus that is tax funder funded, federally subsidized, if you could have anybody come there and they're doing a private event at that, I don't care how many petitions or signatures you have. You don't like it, don't show up. It's called the First Amendment. And so when he's talking, he communicates respectfully. He's not antagonizing people and trying to incite a riot. You see some of these radicals, they come and they do the exercising of the First Amendment as they're calling for people to burn down cities. You have members of Congress openly stating it's time to fight, fight, fight. 70-plus-year-old senior citizens who have been in Congress, who are making hundreds of millions of dollars in their portfolio off the taxpayers, are saying, we need to fight and burn it down. And you're not okay with Charlie Kirk going to a public university to talk about issues that need to be counterbalanced on public campuses. Ludicrous.
Over controversial speakers coming on college campuses, and universities' role in balancing the freedom of speech and them hearing these speakers versus protecting the safety of students.
And as we just heard from several folks, you know, they wanted to come out.
You don't need to protect the safety of students from Charlie Kirk and his team. You need to protect the safety of students from radical, insane human beings who already know exactly what they're going to do. Now, I imagine what we're going to see from the left is the immediate jump on the bandwagon of gun control, and then the radicalization and making the assumption that this guy somehow is a right-winger lunatic. I was classified, and my organization, American Contingency, was classified as a militia violent extremist organization, an MVE. They called me a white supremacist. I don't know if they've seen me without my sunglasses on or from the waist down. I am half Korean. I'm half Asian. And I identify as a person who's Asian American. I'm an American first. But when you have these type of circumstances unfolding across our country, and then radicals coming out of the woodwork to promote more violence, that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to turn this around and spin it, and then that's going to be a significant issue for supporters of Turning Point, of Charlie Kirk, and really freedom-loving Americans in this country. Look, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of people in political positions, like talking heads like Charlie Kirk. It's not that I don't like him. I like him. I just don't follow and watch all the stuff that he puts out. But I know for a fact that what he's doing, and even even promoting a little bit of discourse and balance is important for a national conversation, especially our youth. What's not acceptable is taking a weapon system and trying to take this guy out because they don't like what he's talking about. You see the compromising of liberties that we're seeing in the UK, Australia, and really Canada and everywhere in the world? That's going to be our country because there's going to be a significant terrorist attack. The government will use it to strong-arm our liberties and freedoms, and we'll be under control. We'll be in a policed state. We'll have surveillance cameras everywhere. I mean, Utah's leading the way in surveillance cameras. They want to put it in every street corner in this state. I mean, yeah.
What attracts them to Charlie Kirk because they're able to have this.
When he was shot?
Yeah, so
Opened up right around in this area.
That, but that was pretty traumatizing and stuff.
Well, let's see if we can finish it up with any of you guys' updates.
Something would happen like that right here at UVU. I mean, this.
Yeah, it's going to be posted, guys. Let's see if I have any top fans questions. Hey, man, I appreciate you guys. Look, I haven't done a live in a long time.
There's a lot of good people, like friends, professors.
Bringing in the heavy guns. Hey, guys, I appreciate you guys. I don't do this often, but I'm doing it more often because I have a news segment, which, listen, subscribe to my channel. I'll post it up. Look, it's going to be YouTube, Substack, X. It's called Dead Drop Intel. It has Intel experts like Sarah Adams, Khalid Muhammad, Jane Doe, Ryan, all these amazing human beings, Chris Heaven from Survival Dispatch, that are experts in intel and operations to provide real intel, distilled information that's just going to make sense. It is not, you don't have to pay anything. We're going to do it for free. I've always wanted to do a news segment talking current events in real time that's cutting through the BS. I don't want corporate sponsors. If you guys want to support us, you can support us via many different ways. What I want is untethered, cutting the umbilical cord, and providing real news and distilled information from experts. Again, I am not an expert in intel. We have the experts in intel. I'll be there driving some of the conversation in operations and national security, some of the things that I have experience in. But that's the goal. I will post it on the community post on this channel, Mike Glover channel. I just want to say I appreciate you guys supporting me and supporting all the endeavors that we're doing. And everybody, we need to get back to God, family, and community. That's the three-tiered system that's going to lead to success. Put God and your faith in him above everything else, and everything else starts to fall in place. Take care of your family first and foremost, and be involved with what's going on in your community. A lot of you care more, I know I'm guilty of it, about what's going on in the headlines in Washington, D.C. What about what's going on in the headlines, or not the headlines, at your city council, with your local sheriff, with a development plan in your local town? That's what we need to be more, with the parent-teacher conference and the teachers and the principals that are dictating what your children learn. That's where we need to be more involved. I appreciate you guys. I'm signing off. Thanks for everybody for supporting the top fans and the top chats. I'm going to post this, so if you missed anything on my assessment, I'll leave it for you. Appreciate you guys. Till next time. How do we post that live?